Welcome to Soul-Led Creative Women, the podcast for heart-centered creative women who are ready to reclaim their spark and live with deeper meaning, authenticity, and soul. So today I have Soreya James with me. Soreya is the voice behind Metamorphosis, a journey through trauma, grief, spiritual awakening, and personal transformation. Soreya is a self-proclaimed spiritual rebel, trauma thriver, and truth teller with over 25 years of deep embodied experience. She doesn't do surface, she speaks what most won't and guides the kind of transformation you feel in your bones. So welcome, Soreya.
Thank you. Wow, I forgot that those words exist. Oh,
Pretty
gosh.
powerful.
I might regret that.
So today I want to dive into creativity as part of a spiritual practice, for women, particularly in midlife, not that we call ourselves midlife women, but, around that sort of bracket. So let's just start with your story. Tell us about your own spiritual and creative journey and how it's led you here today.
It's a really long story, so let me see if I
Okay.
can condense
Highlights.
condense it into a few minutes. I've always been a creative being, and I know now that it is literally in our bones. It's in our genetic coding, it's part of our destiny. We have this infinite intelligence inside of us, and unless it's suppressed in some way or obstructed in some way, it comes out in this beautiful creative form, whatever that may be. And for me personally, it was through the sound of music.
Yeah.
It was because that came through our family lineage as well. So
Okay.
it was through singing, it was through dancing, it was through movement, it was any kind of sort of outward expression.
Mm.
Where others it might be through painting or gardening or writing
Yeah.
or what have you. And then through my lifetime, as I've done deeper work, the creativity has come through in other ways, such as writing. I'm writing a TV series at the moment, and that's a whole
Mm.
other level of creativity. And then, and it just kind of leaks into every area of life, through parenting, through relating, through being with nature. So it's constantly removing the obstructions and the conditioning and all the things that we're layered with to allow for that natural creativity to shine.
Mm.
So yeah, that's pretty much been my journey. It's like this beautiful blossoming
Yeah.
flower.
Beautiful. Love
Yeah.
that. Love it so much.
Yeah.
So how do you believe that creativity then helps us to tap into this deep wisdom within and this intuition, and even our subconscious to a point, our lived experiences from the past? Tell us about, your experiencing accessing that wise inner world through creativity.
Yeah. So I have several practices that I use. I was just saying to you, Sam, before we started the questions, that I just come out of a 2-hour yoga and meditation practice. So I work with Kundalini yoga, which is the highest form of yoga. It's called a Raja yoga. So it's the most ancient form of yoga. It has all the other yogas within it. So often when people think of yoga, they think of a posture or an asana or standing on your head.
Yeah.
That's not what I practice. I move energy in the body.
Okay.
So there's a lot of breath work, there's a lot of movement, more fluid movement, and then building that energy up through the spinal channel, which is our creative channel,
Mm.
into the pituitary pineal gland connection, which opens us into that vacuum where creativity comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's connecting my own consciousness and the elemental being that I am, the consciousness and the elements of nature,
Mm.
and working with those forces when you're expanding in what we call the magnetic field. You're expanding your own magnetic field into the magnetic field of nature, which is creation,
Yeah.
and tapping into that consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tapping into all the different elements. It's like if I want to work with fire element, what might that look like? It might look like ecstatic dance. If I want to work with the water element, it might look like painting or writing.
Yeah.
If I want to work with the earth element, it might be working with the earth, gardening, landscape.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just bridging those two worlds, really, the inner world and the outer world.
Yeah. So cool. So cool. And do you consciously use, practices to sort of figure out problems or to process emotions and things like that? Tell us about a bit about that.
Very, very much so. So
Mhm.
at the beginning of each practice, and I practice daily,
Mhm.
it's very, very rare that I will miss a day. Even if I do 15 minutes,
Mhm.
like taking a vitamin, I will tune in. So I tune into the inner teacher through a prayer or an invocation. And then I sit with an intention. I sit with my emotional body. So, this morning it was help me find clarity around the next natural steps
Sure.
in my life, which is a big question.
Yeah. You're just looking for the baby step though, right? Just what can I do today?
Good, like many of us in our maturing years, we're finding a new direction. We're looking for a
Yeah.
deeper purpose in life
Yeah.
and going through many transitions.
Yeah.
And I'm in that place. And during the end, when I'm lying in relaxation, these words come through that is not from the mind.
Mhm.
It's the wisdom of nature itself,
Mm.
and it always brings or often brings tears, like little tender tears. You
Okay.
know that there's a truth with that.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's accessing the emotional body.
Yeah.
And then I just feel like, oh my God, this is so much. I'm always surprised by it. I'm quite humbled by it.
Isn't that interesting? I feel like for me, when I get those words or those, messages, those soul messages,
Mm,
I feel like for me, it's kind of just this really like powerful kind of knowing, right, let's take action,
yeah,
Whereas, like I really appreciate, how it can show up so differently for different people and this emotional response, because it is wonderful, isn't it? Because you didn't know where that journey, that inner journey was going to take you when you started. So it's so
exactly.
powerful.
And throughout the journey this morning, there was anger and rage
Okay. Okay.
in my being that, I've just gone through a situation in my life where I hadn't given myself the time to express. Wasn't
Okay.
I was suppressed.
Yeah.
And so this morning it was like, here's my intention, bring me clarity around this situation. And that
Mm,
the process and the practices unlocked this anger
mm,
range. And I always give myself permission to feel it. Likewise, when I'm working with a client, it's like, let it loose, but
yeah.
not attach a story
No.
or a drama or something to it. It's just like, just let the raw emotion release. And then once
Mm.
that's gone, there's nothing but bliss.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people misunderstand that a little bit as well, because quite often it's just shining a light on it and just letting it breathe, and that's it. It's not about getting the answers straight away or necessarily or, any great kind of, um, like visceral response. It can just be shining a light on it, right? Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree with that.
Mm,
It's,
mm.
and this is what they call shadow work
Yeah,
or inner child work, or,
yeah,
many names we call it.
yeah,
And
so good.
we're afraid of that.
Yeah,
You're afraid of that.
yeah,
I love
definitely.
it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not
Um,
my body anymore.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And, on that note, what are your beliefs around how a creative practice or a spiritual practice, really does help us connect with something much bigger than ourselves and this kind of universal energy source? Tell us a bit about how you might use creative practices specifically to really make that connection.
Yeah, I was actually just saying to a friend yesterday, or she said to me, she said, there are so many people that have lost faith or don't have faith. And she said, I don't know how they get through life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And, I agreed. And her faith is different to my faith, and her way is different to my
Yes.
way. But it still takes us to the same direction, and that
Yes.
spirit, God, universe, whatever you call it. So the practices, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
It's just having a practice that gives you the vertical connection as opposed to the horizontal, um, going and reaching out for a substance or something that's going to
Yes.
fill the void that when you sit in meditation or you dance or you sing or you paint or you use your creativity, creates that life force energy through the body, like
Mhm.
what I call kundalini energy, what other people would call life force, what we call prana or chi. Um, so it just needs to be something.
Yeah, okay. And I would be as simplistic as to call that creative flow,
Creative
like
flow.
people talk about creative flow, like, but actually it's so much more than, creative flow. It is that spiritual channeling. It's something moving through you. Yeah.
And the word spirituality, I think, has been, not I think, I know, has been bandied about so much in the last, few decades.
Yeah.
And it became a bit of a catchphrase for a while, and then it became almost like a spiritual people were spiritual bypassing
Yeah.
and throwing it out as if um, it meant something that it's not.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's quite polarizing, that word, in some capacities. I've sort of only really embraced that in the last year, I would say. I was using the word soul really before, and I do use soul a lot in my language.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, some enigma, like some kind of untouchable that's not really that accessible or easy to access from the everyday person.
yeah.
And it's breaking down that myth, I think, a bit. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I believe it comes from, the I don't know sort of what the timeline is, but we used to have spiritual masters and spiritual
Yes. Gurus, yeah.
gurus. And, my generation, like my spiritual name is Guru Soreya, but I've never gone by it
Mhm.
because my generation is not, I'm your guru.
Yeah.
My generation is you're your own teacher. I'm
Yes.
to support that process. And
Mm.
then the next generation, like my son at 21, we're like, we don't need any teachers, leave us alone. We're all good.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, okay.
It's an inside job, though. I mean, that's the thing. If you can find that way to connect, it's an inside job,
Yeah.
and that's one of the big realizations, I think, is for our generation, as we move into midlife and beyond.
Mm,
It's that actually we hold all the answers
yeah.
inside us, whereas we were taught and conditioned to really look for external validation and, this external metrics of success. And, so it's a really powerful thing when you finally kind of get it and it clicks. Do
Mm,
you agree with that?
yeah, I do. I do. And going back to the whole, the spiritual teacher, and I, this is just something that's landed now. I don't know if I've ever heard it anywhere, or obviously I haven't. That the spine is the channel or the pathway or tunnel from the womb to the tomb,
Ah, okay.
and the teacher sits inside the womb, and it takes you to your tomb. So from birth to death.
Mm, mm.
So it's all condensed in this channel, the shushumna we call it.
It's pretty cool.
That's where your creative energy comes from. So the more flexible the spine, the more creativity you're going to have in life, the more sort of flexibility you'll have in your creative energy too.
So powerful. So when we're hitting that midlife bracket, I'm talking sometime after 40, I guess. It's a big catalyst for questioning the life path, and maybe feeling some discomfort, and facing big changes. So, why does midlife crack so many people open? And how can we, use it to facilitate this sacred awakening, and this period of self-discovery?
Yeah. So obviously I can only speak of my experience, and that is very vast and helping thousands of women, a couple of decades. Metamorphosis, for example, is the point of the cracking is coming out of the cocoon, and the years predominantly women are spent in their 20s and 30s in their careers, in their motherhood roles, paying bills, having mortgages. That's the generic, right? So when we come out the other side of that, there's actually a physiological, biological uh, transition that our bodies go through, perimenopause, menopause, that brings us out of that cocoon of
Mhm,
accumulation, because that's an accumulation phase, that phase of life.
mhm,
And so as we come out of that, we start questioning. We're going through these changes in our body, which are actually the changes in our brain chemistry,
mhm,
which are giving us a different lens on life.
mm.
So we're having to question, well, who am I now
Yeah.
that my children have left home? Who am I now that I'm not needed in my career in the same way as I was? Or my husband and I, or partner and I, are going through a different phase in our relationship. What do I need? What do I want? And often that question is just, I know for me, it was like, don't know.
Yeah.
I really have to evaluate.
That voice has been got
Yeah,
quieter over
I've
time. Yeah.
to everyone else for 2 full decades,
Yeah.
nearly 2.5, and I'm a bit exhausted,
Mm.
and I need to give to myself, and I'm not quite sure what that looks like.
Yeah.
And the grief that comes with that is very palpable.
Mm.
There's a lot of grief that I've experienced in the last 8 years or so that has been grief that I've not known before.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
deep, deep letting go of so much
Yeah. Is that just shedding the layers, do you think, of like who you were?
identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming and so the cocoon phase is like you're coming in inwards, 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 and really looking at yourself and all the identities and the pieces. And then when it starts cracking, it's like, oh, okay, I
Mm.
think I could maybe give that up or give that away, or that friendship doesn't support, or maybe my relationship is over. So many relationships
Yeah.
dissolve
Yeah.
this time. Or, there's just so many pieces to it. And the cracking continues if you continue looking inwards.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of times people will start looking outside of themselves for the answers,
Answers.
or
Yes.
they'll go into substance abuse, or
Yeah.
depression comes about, or addiction comes about, and because they don't have the coping mechanisms,
Mm.
go through that phase.
Mm.
Very challenging and uncomfortable phase, but the only way through is through.
Yeah. And slightly terrifying, I
And
mean,
slightly terrifying.
yeah. And I think that's a big thing, right? So even if you know that you're not living your truth, even if you know that you're not living in integrity and that things kind of need to go, but they're too scary to face,
Yeah.
you know, like it can feel so overwhelming to start. Where do you think people should really start on that journey, when it does feel so overwhelming?
Mm, it's the starting point is not so much a where should I start, but it happens automatically.
Yeah.
Like life is going to give us what we need,
Yes.
not what we want necessarily all the time.
Yes.
And so it's okay, this challenge is coming into my life for a reason.
Yes.
And I'm aware of it triggering me or causing some suffering. And what's the next natural step that I can take? So the mantra for me in my life is, what is the next natural step? Because the mind is going to propel us into the future.
Yeah.
It's going to take us back into the past, and it's going to bring those two things together and make a meaning or a story.
Mm.
So if I was to give like any wisdom on the question, it would be the first thing that you'll notice is that you'll be aware of a challenging behavior or something that is creating suffering in your life or in your mind, whether it be subtle or whether it be grandiose. The moment that awareness comes is working with the breath, getting connected back into the body, and then asking that question, what's the next natural
Yeah.
thing or the
Baby
next
step.
step that I can take? Because the mind really is going to spiral if there's something that's presenting itself that is a major, major challenge. And we're all really presented with a lot these
Yeah.
days.
And, I feel like there's this sense as well, though, where because the inner world has not been the focus, and we've lost connection to that sort of inner space. Um, we don't have this kind of inner safety or this inner trust or whatever within ourselves. And it's finding, I think, meaningful ways to actually build that inner safety and trust, and it doesn't have to be that you're solving the immediate problem, which might be your relationship or your career. It could actually just be like, for me, what I sort of guide people with is creative expression practices, and creating this little safe container for people so that they can build that inner safety and trust because they're expressing their truth on the page or wherever. Do you believe in that sort of sense of like, you don't have to like take giant leaps in terms of, claiming your truth? Tell us a bit about that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's similar to what I'm sharing about, what that next natural step is.
Yeah.
I was talking to a client yesterday, and she shared her story with me, and it's just like, oh, you have a conversation with someone and you go, how is it that life has given her all
Mm.
pain and all of this suffering and all of this to grieve with? And she's in overwhelm and in a
Mm.
stress response and a trauma response. And the question becomes, what can we do just in this
Yeah.
moment to bring your nervous system back into that parasympathetic state and just be with this moment here, this trigger?
Mhm.
And so, for me, I work with the breath.
Yep.
I work with mantra, which interrupts the state that with what's happening in the brain chemistry. For you, it sounds like you're working with art therapy, and and art therapy is so vast, and it's the hardest thing to do is to live in this moment.
Yes. Yes. And not
But
feel like we have to solve it all straight away.
not so. It's like there's the picture out there. How am I going to cope with this? What's life going to look like if I don't do? What decision, what path do I take? But what I found over the years when I've been faced with, these big um, decisions or
Yeah.
challenges is no matter what path I chose, life always took care of it.
Yes.
There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad path. Life is an experience.
Yeah.
And when we can listen to our body, does this pathway create more contraction or expansion in my body? Does this pathway create more lightness or heaviness in my body?
Yeah.
A deeper, longer breath or a more contracted breath? And then following that, because that's following life force.
Mm.
But even if you chose the other one,
Yeah.
life it's not good, bad, right,
But
wrong.
it's the staying still or the
It-
staying stagnant and the staying in pain that's the problem, right? So actually it's actually just moving and finding a way to move. Would you agree with that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And whatever that is,
Yeah.
whatever that is. And it might just be a matter of going for a walk.
Yes. Spending
Yeah.
time in nature is a big one, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing. It's just so grounding. It just brings you back to yourself so quickly. So, yeah, so powerful. So, what do you wish more people knew about the power of creativity as a spiritual practice?
Just that they have direct access to it so easily.
Yeah. And it's for everyone.
Everyone, and it's actually really simple. I wish people knew more about the creativity of their own life force, like their own prana, and that it doesn't necessarily have to come from outside. Like the breath itself, for example, is such an incredible creative expression, and
Mm.
there's so many different ways you can use it. There's thousands of different types of breath practices, or maybe not thousands, but hundreds, and you can do them to music and um, while you're walking and while you're driving a car and while you're doing the dishes at the kitchen bench, just to access that creative life force in us. And I wish people, and I do believe that our work is becoming so much more available,
Mm.
understood,
Mm.
and received now
Mm.
more than that. Like art therapy is a thing.
Yeah.
And it's now covered through ACC here in New Zealand. You can go to an art therapist, which is
Yeah.
so cool. Whereas, even up to 10 years ago, it was psychology, psychotherapy,
Yeah.
counseling.
Very limited. Yeah.
And so I'd love for people to really know that the creative life force is within them.
Yes. And it's like this thing where it used to be all be about like finding your muse as an artist, right? Which is an external thing. But actually there's a lot you can do if you just tap into what's going on for you in your life, and how can that feed inspiration in your
Mm.
creativity? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I do. And it just brought me to a point of our creativity is so stifled
Mm.
in our youth. It's in our generation.
Yes.
Not maybe not so much now, but it was you just have this one channel of creativity. You're a dancer,
Yeah.
then you do that. Your parents would take you to dance classes every week,
Yeah.
or softball or whatever it was, as opposed to let it all shine.
Yeah. And then you're told to sort of turn it off as you sort of enter adulthood, right? So it's kind of like, yes, it's explore creativity a little bit in childhood, and
Yeah.
then let's turn off the tap because now you've got to go and grow up and go
Right.
and go and do the hard stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so it's like refinding that again.
Yes. That's it. That's it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So for all the women who are curious about developing their own spiritual creative practice, what powerful message or question would you like to leave them with today?
Wow. I would say close your eyes, go inside, and ask the inner child, or ask your heart, your soul, like, how does it want to express through you?
Mm.
And then trust that and know that it's not silly or crazy. It's like if it wants to put a big sheet of paper out and put paint on your feet and let yourself do that and just find the joy in it.
Yeah.
Be joyful.
Yeah.
My parents are in their 70s. I'm just looking around because I'm in their home at the moment and looking at all their art. They're painters and their paintings are like children have done them.
Okay.
They don't have any messages, but it's like they're very childlike. They're
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this big grand thing, does it?
No.
But so much pressure on ourselves to make everything perfect and beautiful.
Yeah. You can create through your cooking.
Yeah.
Making breakfast for your family. It's like, let's get a little bit creative on it. Let's make a smiley face with the eggs and the bacon.
Yeah.
For our old children, our mature children, and let them have a laugh.
Yeah.
Just little things like that.
Yeah. And it's following your curiosity and your joy, right? And one of those curious seeds that you plant, that you follow, it just automatically leads to another one. So how can people get to know you better, Soreya, and get a real feel for the work that you're doing?
I am on Facebook. I'm not much of an Instagrammer. That's not so much my generation.
Yeah.
And I really love to have conversations. So, people will often watch podcasts, won't they, and be intrigued by your work, and then they'll follow you. But I actually really love to have conversations. So if somebody is sparked by what we've shared today, reach out to either one of us, and have a conversation. Like, I just love chatting.
Yeah.
And if that naturally leads to something, working together, so be it. But I'm not one of these people that kind of put myself out there a lot. People will find us if they're meant to.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as we're a little bit visible, like in this way. This is my medium. And I have a website, but it's in the form of an app. But it's all on the Facebook page, the Soreya James, if anyone's curious.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today. I loved our conversation, Soreya. So good.
Me too. It's really cool.
Hey, Sam here. Thanks for listening to the end. If you love this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please send me a message on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Sam Horton Studio. For more episodes like this, please subscribe to my podcast, Soul-Led Creative Women, on your favourite platform. You'll find all the links at samhorton.co/podcast. The themes and tools explored in this episode feature in my new online program, Empowered Creative Soul. To find out more and join the waitlist for VIP perks when doors open, please visit samhorton.co. The direct link is in the show notes. Take care.